In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to lose 20 to 30 pounds in the next 16 weeks. This is the exact blueprint that I apply with my clients right now that are achieving these goals, so you can do it too. We're going to cover nutrition and healthy whole foods that you need to have in your diet. Then we're going to move into calorie targets and macros and how you can actually figure out these numbers and apply it into your real life. I'm also going to make you a promise that if you follow this blueprint to the T, you can lose 20 plus pounds of fat, maintain your muscle in the next 120 days. And if you're wondering, can people actually do this and get results? Here's a picture before and after one of my clients in his mid-30s. He's busy with work. He doesn't really like tracking his calories, but we found a way to get him started at least in the right direction. So he was tracking for just a little bit of time. And then he understood what he needed to do with the proper food groups and actually put it into his life and carried this forward. And you can see this guy maintained, if not put on some muscle mass, and he's continuing to achieve new goals. Another one of my clients, 53 years old, this guy wanted to run a marathon. He wanted to be more athletic and strong. He had some knee pain, lower back pain. We helped him through that with the training. But when it came to his nutrition, he was missing a foundational pillar that I know a lot of you are missing too. And we're going to talk about that. Guys, if you stay consistent with this, you will see changes along the way until you get to that ultimate physique that you're after. As you can see, we're not just dropping fat here. We're building muscle at the same time, if not maintaining that muscle. And we're going to get to that with the macro breakdown. Guys, I'm an online fitness coach. I'm also a power engineer with a full-time career job, and I run my business at the same time. I have a toddler at home. I went through a back surgery about 3 years ago now, and I had to rebuild my body from the ground up. And I just want to show you the power of consistency. With training, nutrition, yes, you can get these results in 120 days, but you can get even more amazing results if you stick to it. Now let's get into the nutrition. Before I list off food groups that you should have in your diet for healthy living, let's take a minute and talk about this. This isn't just about losing fat and just looking good. This is about feeling good and living a healthier life. A lot of you guys are busy dads, you have careers, and now you're starting to think, man, I want to be around for my kids. I don't want to just look good, I want to feel good, and I want to be healthy. When you swap out your processed foods and switch that to single ingredient foods, you feel better and you dramatically increase your longevity by doing your part. Now, the foundation of your fat loss is going to be driven by protein. And this is the mistake that so many of you are making. I see it every time. Anyone who comes into my program, it's the first thing we need to try and fix. And some guys get it right away. Other guys, it takes a few weeks, sometimes even months to actually apply this in their life. But the sooner you do this, the faster the results will come, and you'll actually see that fat dropping off week after week. And it comes down to protein being the foundation to every meal. You need to strive to get at least 20 to 30 grams of protein in every meal. And I guarantee you, achieving that 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight becomes so much easier. You can screenshot this page to see exactly what you should be having in your fridge, because I'm not going to read off every single one to you. You can read for yourselves. But if you don't have these food groups and you're relying on tons of processed food, you might be able to lose the weight, but are you actually getting healthier? So the next time you go shopping, make sure you get some of these food groups. I use the chicken breast, lean ground beef for either lunch or dinner. I usually go with the eggs or Greek yogurt, cottage cheese for my breakfasts. And here's some additional seafood options that I swap out to just to keep the variety. But at the end of the day, I'm usually eating the same things over and over again. And I've recently just had this talk with one of my clients that nutrition for fat loss should be boring. If you're trying to find some extravagant meals and recipes all the time, that becomes very hard to actually stick to and continuously track. So eating the same things over and over actually helps you stay consistent and see that weight come down. Now we got to talk to you about carbs. And a lot of you think losing weight means cutting out carbs completely, and that couldn't be any further from the truth. Carbs give you energy to train, give you energy throughout your day, and you need that actually to build muscle and maintain muscle during your cut. And 3 carb sources that I usually go to are white rice, wraps, and sweet potatoes. The wraps I use for either breakfast, lunch, sometimes dinner, but it makes making meals so much easier. I could just slap on some ground beef in there, add on a little bit of spinach, and there's one meal. I could throw in my scrambled eggs in there, Now I got my carbs and my protein. Potatoes and sweet potatoes are a powerhouse. Not only does it help you not feel hungry, but they are loaded with the energy you need, and it helps you keep your calorie intake low. Screenshot this and make sure you get some of these in your next grocery haul. Now, a lot of you have a hard time with that feeling of hunger. This is where healthy snacks like fruits come into play, and also vegetables that have a lot of volume to them to actually fill up your stomach with not a lot of calories. Now, I'm just gonna touch up on fats because fats are very important for your hormonal health, but a lot of you don't have this problem. You're already getting way more than you need with your fats. And we're gonna talk about this later in detail when we get into your macros. Now let's talk about the easiest way to find your calorie targets, and we'll break that down further to protein, carbs, and fats. When it comes to finding your calorie targets, I want you to go to tdeecalculator.com. Just Google that. Click on the link and it's going to take you to this main page. I want you to put your age in. So for this example, we'll just use 40. I want you to put your weight in. So we'll just use 220 pounds and we'll put a height of 5'10". When you select your activity level, I want you to underestimate it. Too many of you are overestimating it, and this really skews the numbers that you're going to get. For this example, we're going to say that this guy exercises 2 times per week. Don't worry about putting in the body fat percentage. Just hit calculate. Now it's going to give you your calorie targets. This is not the target that you need to hit. This is just telling you that if you eat 2,600 calories per day, you're going to stay the exact same weight. This is your metabolic rate. That's what that means, is the energy you need to just maintain where you're at right now. Keep in mind, these are estimates, and over the weeks, you will make adjustments to it. But how do you actually find a deficit? I want you to scroll down and click on cutting. Now it's going to break down your actual calorie targets are 2,100. This puts you in a 500 calorie deficit. But here's something that's super important. It's going to give you a breakdown of how much protein, carbs, and fats you should be eating. This is a very good baseline start, and you will get results from this. However, with my clients for fat loss, I calculate a slightly different ratio. What I want you to take away from this is the most important thing is the protein stays at that baseline of 160. You don't want to fall under this protein. With my clients, I actually try to push to a 40-40-20 breakdown. That's 40% of coming from protein, 40% coming from carbs, and only 20% coming from fats. I make some adjustments based on how hard that is for them to apply, but I promise you, if you follow any one of these, with that 2,100 calorie target on a daily basis, you will start to see results. Now let's put this into a real life application. Here's one of my clients, and we just did a review of this last week with one of my check-ins for him. Now his calorie target is 2,200, okay, based on his height, weight, and his activity factor. For him, he was on track on Monday. He went over his calories on Tuesday, over his calories on Wednesday, and then way over his calories on Thursday. Now, before Friday came around, we had a check-in, and I was telling him it is very important for us to pull back Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is real life application. These are real numbers that this guy is doing for his fat loss and body recomposition goals. There's something that I want to show you from a coach's perspective, okay? Because this week is not done. We made an adjustment, and this is called calorie cycling. So he has 2,200 on a daily basis. You take that 2,200 and you multiply it by 7 days of the week. That is his absolute total that he can't go over. So what I encouraged him to do was to pull back Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to make up for the increase that he did on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And now by the end of the week, he's still in line to making progress that week. And that's how you can apply this into real life application. This is why as a coach, I don't believe in just one check-in or 1 month check-ins, because you could be messing up throughout the week. And as a coach, I believe it's my responsibility to catch you and at least guide you into the right steps that you can take to still make it a successful week. So when you're almost at 3,000 calories on Thursday, you might be like, you know what, whatever, the week's done. I screwed up today. No, you didn't screw up. You can simply pull back the rest of the week and still hit your goals. Let's face it, as family career men, we got things on the go. Sometimes we have lunches at work. Sometimes we want to take the family out. We can't always stay super disciplined with these calories. We need some leeway and freedom. That's why I believe it's important to check in multiple times in the week. And I have at least 3 check-ins with each one of my clients: Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That allows me to catch mistakes quickly, give you guidance, fix things up, and make progress quickly. Just a quick backdrop on this. Back in the day when I was working as a personal trainer in the gyms, I'd be lucky if I got to see my clients more than 1 or 2 times per week, but I had no access to their actual nutritional intake other than just, yeah, I had a good week. I tried to stick to the meal plan, which is why I think it's so important now that I brought my coaching online to really take full advantage of this and guide you every step of the way. So just as a quick recap, you should now have some screenshots for a grocery list that you can literally go and apply now. You should also know how to actually find your daily calorie targets and start hitting your macros and what those splits look like. And you also have a real life application to see, okay, if I did go over, this is how I make the adjustments and how I could cycle my calories for my busy life. And here's my promise to you. With my 3-phase coaching, I stand by 3 pillars. Getting your nutrition right. If you lock in with your calorie deficit and understanding how to apply your macros, if you start fixing up your lifestyle and aiming for about 8 to 10K daily steps, aiming for that 7 hours of sleep, and if you put that all together with 3 workout sessions per week, I guarantee you, you will lose 20 plus pounds in the next 16 weeks. If you're not sure of what to do with your training, click on this video here where I break down how to set up workouts that are 45 minutes or less that actually keep you on track and get results. If you found this video beneficial in any way, make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below that you want to see more. And I'll see you in the next one.